I'm admittedly a huge comic book movie fan. I love the Marvel movies. The first Avengers is my favorite of all time. I hated Green Lantern. Batman Begins is my favorite of the Nolan trilogy, and I think Man of Steel is underrated. I'm a fan, not a critic. So I purposefully stayed far away from spoilers and never even read one review going into Batman v Superman. And I'm writing this review still not having read or watched any review, so that my opinion will be based only on what I think, so that I'm not swayed either way. Now, the closest I came to reading a review was fan reactions following the premiere. However, I did see some articles saying that critics were having a field day bashing the movie. So I went into the movie with mixed expectations, but mostly hope. This review assumes that you have seen the movie and is filled with spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, please go and see it first. It'll be worth it. Whew, so I've literally just got home from the IMAX theater. I saw the movie in 3D, but you really don't have to see this in 3D, but I would recommend seeing it in IMAX if you can. The visuals are absolutely mind-blowing right from the first scene. The script and storytelling of this movie was phenomenal. I loved how they tied the opening scene of Martha and Thomas Wayne's death to when Batman was about to kill Superman with the kryptonite spear, and used the fact that Bruce and Clark had a mother with the same name to tie them together. This humanized Clark in the eyes of Batman. It's a long movie, but for me it flew by, and there are so many amazing moments. I loved the way it tied in the events of Man of Steel into this film from Bruce Wayne's perspective. The scene of Bruce Wayne speeding through the streets of Metropolis to try to get as many people out of Wayne Financial Building was absolutely amazingly shot and set the tone for the movie. The sound and cinematography of this movie was breathtaking, as I've said. Now, in my opinion, Ben Affleck brings a physicality to Bruce Wayne and Batman that was pretty much lacking in Christian Bale's Batman. And I had the thought early on that Ben Affleck's Batman would absolutely decimate Bale's Batman if they got in a fight. But it's probably an unfair comparison, as this Batman is set in a more fantastic world. Now, I won't go as far to say that he is better than Bale's Batman, as they're completely different movies and set in different worlds, but I personally prefer Ben Affleck's Batman over any Batman that has come before. By far, in fact. The relationship of Lois and Clark in Man of Steel felt rushed. However, in this movie, it seemed believable and not rushed at all. I'm not a huge fan of romance in comic book movies, but this worked, and it accurately captured the spirit of their relationship in the comics. I actually found that I enjoyed the Lois character far more in Batman v Superman than I did in Man of Steel. Overall, the script was far better than Man of Steel, and among the best of any comic book movie ever. There was some humor sprinkled in, but just the right amount where it didn't distract you and take you out the movie. This is a serious movie with serious stakes, and I think the movie did a very good job of setting up those stakes by tying in the destruction of Metropolis from Man of Steel. And it creates a perfectly believable and reasonable motivation for Batman to want to stop Superman. Clark is prepared to do anything for Lois, and this is eventually exploited by Lex Luthor, who has collected detailed files on all known metahumans. Now, I thought that Lex was very well portrayed by Jesse Eisenberg. However, I would have liked to see a little bit more motivation for why he collected all this information on metahumans and wanted Superman dead. But I think this was purposefully left vague, and we are only really given a hint at his motivation at the end once captured in prison, when he shouts out to Batman, and I may be getting this wrong, but something to the effect of, "He knows about us, he's coming," clearly referring to Darkseid. Now, it appears that Lex has probably been in contact with Darkseid perhaps, and is aware of the threat, and is probably trying to kill Superman to make it easier for Darkseid to conquer Earth. Henry Cavill was much improved and brilliant as Clark Kent and Superman. Many people have been praising Ben Affleck as Batman, but I think they were equally as good, and they were a good match for each other on screen. Now I want to spend a little bit of time talking through some of the massive Easter eggs. Firstly, Ezra Miller as the Flash, appearing in a vision or in reality, coming back in time to warn Batman that Lois is the key and he must stop her from dying, and then saying, "Oh no, I've come too soon," because he realizes Batman doesn't recognize him yet. And Batman's dream of a post-Darkseid world with the Omega symbol and the parademons that we have seen in the trailers also alluded to the fact that Lois has died, and this was the reason for Superman flipping out in some kind of way and becoming a dictator. Now, this is very much the storyline of Injustice Gods Among Us, where the Joker tricks Superman into killing Lois Lane and destroying Metropolis. It looks like they're going to use elements of this storyline mixed in with a bit of Flashpoint for the Justice League movies. Flash's costume looked battle damaged, but absolutely amazing, and I love that they have already introduced time travel into the DCEU. Ezra Miller's few lines completely sold me as Barry Allen in The Flash. I enjoyed the way they introduced Diana Prince, and the way she worked alongside Bruce Wayne to uncover Lex's plan. Her watching the video of the Flash quickly stopping that mugger while buying milk, Aquaman in some underwater wreckage and then blasting away was awesome, and the Cyborg cameo was perhaps a little bit forced when compared to the rest, but it was also good. I thought the creation of Doomsday made sense, and I liked the way they showed you how they couldn't kill him and he just got stronger, as well as the military nuking Doomsday and Superman, and how Superman regenerated when the sun came, which is one of many nods to The Dark Knight Returns, where there Superman was weakened by a Soviet nuclear missile strike on Corto Maltese. Wonder Woman's entrance was awesome. The way she casually jumped off the plane with her bags and then used her bracelets to stop Doomsday from killing Batman with his heat vision was amazing, and I really thought Gal Gadot silenced all the critics by her performance. The movie also did a great job of teasing the Wonder Woman solo movie, which will take place in World War I. Now, the way they handled the death of Superman also made a lot of sense. He was weakened by the kryptonite spear, and so it allowed Doomsday to pierce his skin, but he still managed to drive the spear through Doomsday and save the day. By Superman sacrificing himself, he proves Batman wrong. He isn't only brave when he's invulnerable. He is courageous in the face of almost certain death against something far more powerful than him. This movie, more than any other Superman film before it, captures the true spirit of Superman. Now, the movie certainly had some emotional moments, and there wasn't a dry eye in the theater I was in, but at the same time, it was an uplifting film with a strong message of hope. And I'm so glad they teased the return of Superman right at the end and did it in the best possible way with the soil rising, just as it did in Man of Steel when he first took flight. As I said, I haven't read or watched any other reviews, however I have heard that they are generally negative. All I can say is that if you are a fan of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, or comic book movies in general, I cannot see how you could not love this movie. I'm not going to directly compare it to any other movies, but I will say that I think this is the best comic book movie since the first Avengers in 2012, and I can't wait to see it a few more times in the theater. So thanks a lot for watching. I want to know what you thought of the movie, and what do you think about the future of the DCEU? What did you like? What did you not like? Let's chat in the comments below. I post lots of videos every week on comic book movies, TV, including Star Wars and other blockbusters, so why not subscribe? Thanks again, cheers for now.